ICE and the Border Patrol, which we have the documents which on their websites, and from a memo, it's not to help them. They should be spending all their time processing the claims for veterans, not for other agencies, not for unauthorized migrants. It's a fact that they are doing it, and because of that, veterans are suffering, and they're the ones getting bills, and providers are leaving the system. It's totally corrupt, and it's got to be investigated. It's got to be stopped.
That was Air Force veteran Darren Selnick with us last weekend. America's veterans calling out the VA's role in processing medical care for illegals who are entering the country, while those who risk their lives for our freedoms still wait to be treated. Our next guest is demanding answers from the Biden administration. Republican Congressman Mike Bost is the chair of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. He joins us now. Mr. Chairman, thanks for being here. I know you're very passionate about this issue and proactive. So VA denies they're doing this. They always do that. And they say they're just a middleman for care that illegals need. Yet we also know that they're denying in many places access to community care for vets. So why are we facilitating care for illegals, but not being as robust as we can for community care for veterans?
Well, first off, Pete, thank you for having me on. And let me tell you, thank you for continuing after this. You know, we all know that President Biden has called this border problem. They can claim that it's not him, but it is him. You know, I was just on the border last spring and dealing with the veterans who are actually Border Patrol agents and making sure they were receiving the services they need. But it just came to us in October, this brave whistleblower who's a border agent that came and said that VA was paying for health care. And I still don't have all of the facts, but it appears VA is not directly providing to the immigrants. It seems VA is a middleman between the Department of Homeland Security and the hospitals. But the Biden administration has to answer to taxpayers and Congress, and as of yet, the VA has not answered to us, so we're still continuing to aggressively go at this. VA resources should always be directed to the veterans, period. And I believe that we must expand the improve VA care in the community to ensure veterans and health care that they need, they're receiving it, and it's not being siphoned off to this border problem that was not caused by these veterans. Matter of fact, you know, there's many veterans, as I said, that are working as Border Patrol agents right now, and they need to be sure that we provide for them.
I think that's an important note that it was a whistleblower that came forward from Border Patrol because they noticed. And by the way, if you go to these websites, which Darren Selnick and others at Concerned Veterans for America have done, there are links to places which point out the fact that illegals are having their health care facilitated through the VA system. So it's not something they're denying in that sense per se, but you're trying to get to the bottom of how pervasive that is. Also, do you feel like veterans are being served in community care, meaning if you can't be seen at a facility, you can go out into the community as aggressively as they should be, or is the Biden administration slowing that?
That's the problem. This is using that system to make sure that we are able to pay for that community care that our veterans need. I don't care whether it's the VA or in the community. Our veterans have to have the services they need when they need it to the quality that they deserve because they've earned it. Now, when we start talking about this, though, they're using the tool and mechanism that's used to pay community care, even though they're reimbursing the VA for it. So they say they are not, because that takes away the level at which they can focus on making sure we're providing for our. But Pete, this looks at a bigger problem. Look, for 2 years, the Biden administration, every agency went unchecked. Why? Because the Democrats were in control. Now you're seeing us aggressively finding all the things that I know you and I have talked about. You know, and we need to hold them accountable. If you remember, there was an administrative rule that Trump put in place that allowed him, and you were a supporter of this, that allowed them to aggressively handle middle management. And when handling middle management, they could fire them if they were doing bad things.
That's right.
We've had sexual harassment by upper echelon that were supposed to be old, stopping sexual harassment. So, yeah, we're trying to get to all of these problems.
Absolutely. Under the Trump administration, you could fire middle managers at the VA for cause. You could also allow vets to go outside into the community if they couldn't be seen at the VA. The Biden administration has tried to effectively reverse both of those things. Now we find out they're using the VA system to help facilitate health care for illegals. Chairman Bost, thank you for being all over this. Keep us updated.
Thank you for having me on.
You got it.
KARE 11 investigation raises alarming questions about how a VA doctor has been treating veterans. Here's AJ Legault.
Well, I got my stock car back in the back here.
Kelvin Catone keeps the car as a reminder of days before the debilitating effects of multiple sclerosis robbed him of his ability to drive.
Just sit here and look at it, thinking about the past a lot.
The past includes service to country, tours in both the Marines and Army, and a fight, a battle with a government agency that's supposed to have his back. But instead, he says, stabbed him in it.
So they were taking away all of your benefits?
Yeah.
Cal's story is an all too familiar story for other veterans who've turned here to the Tomah, Wisconsin VA for help. A KARE 11 investigation found a pattern of veterans misdiagnosed,
Put it on the report. I didn't even have MS.
made to feel they're faking,
You can't fake this.
wrongly denied medical care and benefits.
Tomah VA turned me down, told me to kick rocks.
Brandon Winishek, Abby Siakper, and Kelvin Catone all have documented and diagnosed neurological disabilities related to their service, and all had their care and benefits torpedoed by the same Tomah VA neurologist.
And her name is Mary Jo Lanska.
Dr. Lanska.
Dr. Mary Jo Lanska.
The Tomah VA repeatedly refused KARE 11's multiple requests to interview Dr. Mary Jo Lanska and hospital leadership. They refused to answer any questions at all, just sending a statement that says they are aware of concerns.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Kelvin's wife, Janice, who, oh, by the way, worked at the Tomah VA as a nursing assistant for 37 years, keeps meticulous records.
You got to have proof that what was said.
They show Calvin's been diagnosed with MS for years. In 2013, the Tomah VA itself documented he had multiple sclerosis connected to his service. His 30% disability benefits came to about $450 a month.
That bought groceries on the table.
By 2016, Kelvin's symptoms were getting worse.
Is falling a lot more.
More fatigue and stuff like that.
His private doctors suggested he ask Tomah VA to be reevaluated for a possible benefits increase. He saw Dr. Lanska.
How long did you spend with Dr. Lanska?
Probably 30 minutes.
Records show, after that brief exam, Dr. Lanska claimed Cal's MS has been diagnosed in error. Because of that, the VA cut all his benefits, sending him this letter. Service connection for multiple sclerosis is severed.
You went ahead and go like this to his nose and this and this and walk, and that's how you determined he had MS or not?
Brandon Winishek, a Marine who survived numerous IED blasts in Iraq, had a similar experience.
How can somebody diagnose traumatic brain injury in 30 minutes? It's impossible, right?
Medical records show Dr. Lanska gave him just a brief exam designed to detect dementia and told him he did not have a TBI.
Are these brief screening tools adequate to diagnose traumatic brain injury?
They are not.
Dr. Justin Otis is a neuropsychiatrist at Gunderson Health in Wisconsin.
It's not sensitive or specific for traumatic brain injury.
After Dr. Lanska's denial, Brandon was forced to pay out of pocket for real TBI testing at a private hospital. That testing showed he sustained multiple brain injuries during his service. The proper diagnosis forced the VA to back down, meaning he can now get not just benefits, but treatment.
I started crying.
Don't judge Abby Siakper by her tears.
Sorry.
She's tough. You have to be to fly Blackhawks and be a gay woman in the military before the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
It messes with your self-worth. When you work so hard over and over and over to prove yourself, just to be denied by an organization that you went to for help.
Her records show a documented line of duty head injury. After she got out, while working as a civilian on a military base, she took another brain blow, falling off the wing of a plane.
Spread eagle on my back and hit my head first on the tarmac.
Within weeks, she developed strange movements in her hands and feet, delayed speech, and cognitive functioning. She began seeing a private neurologist at Gunderson.
She diagnosed me with functional movement disorder, and this last head injury was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Wanting a second opinion about treatment, she turned to the Toma VA. Dr. Mary Jo Lanska just reviewed her chart and records, never even saw her, but put this note in Abby's records about people with functional movement disorder having common underlying agendas that include avoidance of work and monetary gain.
It accused me of malingering, which is faking my symptoms.
When she later applied for disability benefits, she got this denial letter. It states her disorder is possibly for secondary gain per Toma VA Neurology. Abby's private neurologist sent the VA a scathing letter, writing, "The VA needs to seriously review their understanding of this very common disorder because it dooms these individuals to prolonged disability and denial of much needed and deserved care." Abby asked Toma to have the disparaging note removed from her medical records. They sent this letter saying they did a thorough review, and her request is denied.
Who did that review?
Dr. Lanska.
You heard right. Toma VA had Dr. Lanska review herself. It's in writing. Dr. MJ Lanska conducted the review.
It's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face.
Back to Kelvin. After Dr. Lanska ruled he didn't have MS, he was forced to undergo a painful spinal tap just to prove he had it, and there is no question about this. The VA had to do an about face, increasing his benefits to 100%. The benefits they'd stripped because of Dr. Lanska's misdiagnosis.
I was telling the truth, and she was the one that just basically ignored me.
Again, we want to know what Dr. Lanska and Toma VA have to say about the denials and misdiagnosis, but they refuse to be interviewed or answer direct questions. Since we first started this investigation, the VA Inspector General has gotten involved, and 2 U.S. senators are demanding answers from the VA Secretary. For KARE 11 Investigates, I'm AJ Legault.
Spectral for me.